Hello everyone and welcome to my Wainstones Fishery. I've come down here just for a short day session today and I'm really looking forward to this actually, because it's not often I get a chance to fish my own lake. It's only because during the winter months we are closed midweek to allow for any essential maintenance, and that also gives me a chance to put a couple of rods out myself, and that's what I'm going to do today. Now it's not going to be easy because the lake is half frozen over, but I'm going to put a couple of rods in the water, more in hope than anything else, but more importantly that will allow me to tell you a bit more about my favourite tips and tactics for the winter months. Make sure you keep watching this video right to the end, because there's an amazing competition coming up where you could win a great prize. Now the first thing I do on any session, not just in the winter, is locate the carp. Location is by far the most important thing in any form of fishing, not just carp fishing. But I think that becomes even more important in the winter months. At this time of year, the fish just aren't moving around as much. The metabolism is a lot lower due to the lower water temperature, and they can often become quite tightly shoaled. And because they're not moving around as much, that means there's less chance of them fish moving on to you as compared to the summer months. So you really do need to get your location absolutely spot on. And one of the most important aids or tools in finding fish has got to be a pair of Polaroids. Now people think that Polaroids are just for the summer months when it's bright and sunny, but it's not. At this time of year the water can be much clearer, and a good pair of Polaroids can cut out the glare and give you great visibility under the water. So I've got my Polaroids, let's go and see if we can see any fish. Now it's not always possible to see the fish that you're wanting to catch. I mean, in an ideal world, you like to rock up at a venue, see fish crashing, rolling, fizzing up. That would make location a lot easier. But at this time of year, those sort of cases are something of a rarity. So it boils down to good old-fashioned watercraft. Now location and watercraft are the most vital tools when it comes down to successful carp fishing, or any fishing for that matter. But as I said before, never more has this been true than in the winter months. So with little signs of fish to go on, you have to use your watercraft skills to try and decipher where those fish may be. So there are a few areas of note on this lake that can be applied to other lakes as well, that I think will be a good starting point in helping me to locate the fish. So first of all, here we have an inflow pipe. So that comes from the stream, it runs next to the lake. Now as that stream comes tumbling down across the hills, as it's moving, it is generating heat. Movement generates heat, and although that is only going to be maybe a degree or two warmer than the main lake, that can be enough for the fish to seek refuge in this area in that slightly warmer water. Now areas that provide cover are always great locations to find carp. So here for example we have a big overhanging willow tree. The branches go right into the water, we've got the roots going out as well, and this provides a great safe haven. But not only that, all these roots and branches attracts lots of natural food. So you have the carp here where they've got the protection, the cover from the branches and the roots, but also a natural food larder close by. Now it doesn't have to be big overhanging trees like this, it can be any areas that provide cover. So any areas where you have structure or snags, or it could be weed beds, lily beds, reed beds, things like that. Now obviously those weed beds, lily beds, etc. aren't going to be there at this time of year, they'll have died off, but there will still be the remains of the dead weed and lilies there. Again, they provide great areas of cover for the fish and also natural food close by. Now one big misconception about location in the winter months is that carp immediately head for the deeper water, and that really isn't the case. On a day like today, for example, where we've got clear skies, no wind and bright sunny conditions, the carp can often be found in the shallower waters, making advantage of the sun's warming rays. That's because the shallower water warms up faster than the deeper sections of the lake. Now on venues where you don't have areas of shallow water, the carp can rise up in the water column and often be found just a few feet below the surface. So there's a few possibilities of where the fish may be located at this time of year. But I think perhaps the best thing to go on a venue is if you can find the venue's previous winter form and find out areas where the fish have come from in past winters, you will find that carp are creatures of habit and can often be found in the same areas each winter. So this is all the kit I'm bringing for this day session today. I do like to stay light and mobile. The fish can become quite tightly shoaled in the winter, which means there could be lots of areas where the fish aren't and small areas where the fish are. And if you can land on one of those areas where the fish are, bites can come quite quickly indeed. So I do like to stay mobile, keep my options open. That's all I've got here. I've just got my 3 Explorer rods in the Explorer rod sleeve here. Got the Explorer bag on my back, and I've got a bucket with all the bait I need for a short session. So I do have a spot in mind where I think the carp may be located. So I'm going to head off there now. During the warmer summer months, I prefer my hook baits to blend in or match the hatch, but the opposite is true in the winter. I want something that really stands out and catches their eye. So if there's any fish that may be swimming around off the deck, there's something nice and bright and visual there to entice them down and pick up the hook bait. So my go-to hook bait in the winter months would be a pop-up. At this time of year, you can often have quite a lot of debris on the lake bed, either from leaf matter or weed that's died off. So I do want to pop up. It just means better presentation. There's less chance of that hook point getting masked by something that could hinder it flying in the carp's mouth easily and catching hold. So here I have an example of the hook baits I've got in my bag. In fact, they're the only 2 hook baits I've got with me at the moment. I've got a pot of hand-rolled yellow Carp Freaks pop-ups and a pot of the washed out pink Carp Freaks too. I see a lot of people with a big bag of pop-ups with loads of different colours and flavours, but these are the only 2 pop-ups I carry during the winter months. They've caught me carp for as long as I can remember, and I have the utmost confidence in them. And at this time of year, that really is key. Now, I've just mentioned about having confidence in hook baits at this time of year, and that same principle applies to my rigs. And this is my kind of go-to pop-up rig that I use for the majority of my fishing situations. It's just a really simple, low-lying pop-up rig tied using 25-pound Camotex soft, a size 5 stiff rig beaked hook. I've got a small piece of silicone there, down the shank, trapping the hair in place, level with the barb to create a blowback effect. I've got a hand-rolled yellow Carp Freaks pop-up and just a split shot to counterbalance the hook bait. It's a super simple rig that has caught me countless carp over the years, and it's one that works right through the year, summer and winter, and it takes any doubt out of the equation whether it's the rig that's doing the business or not. You know it's worked for you time and time again, and there's no need to change. So I've just talked about my favourite hook baits for this time of year. Now I want to show you my loose feed. It does require a little bit of prep before the session, but I'll explain a little bit more about how and why as we go on. So first up, my boilie of choice in the winter months is the CC Moore Live System. Now the reason I like this so much is firstly because of its colour. It's a light creamy coloured bait which when goes in the water becomes even whiter or even brighter, and I do think this adds a great deal of visual attraction to the hook bait. You think of that laying on the lake bed in amongst any leaf matter or dead and dying weed. It really does stand out very well on the bottom. Now, as good a bait as this is, I do like to pimp it before use, and this is how I do it. So in this bag here, I'm going to tip around 1 kilo of boilies. Here I'm using 10mm Live System. And now I've got about 1 kilo of boilie in the bag. Now to this, I'm going to add some lake water. I would ordinarily have prepped this in advance, but I'm going to show you how I do it right now. So here, I'm adding lake water. Now, as I said, I do normally prepare this in advance. So if you can't get lake water from the lake you're going to be fishing, I find just the cheap table water, which costs about 20p for a big litre bottle, is also fine. What I don't want to use is tap water. I just don't like the idea of there being any chemicals added in there. It probably doesn't make any difference at all, but it does make difference to my confidence, and we've talked about this numerous times already. You know, confidence really is key at this time of year. So now all the baits are just covered with the water, but to this I'm now going to add a can of evaporated milk. The Live System is a lovely, creamy smelling, tasting bait, and what better way to boost that than with the addition of some more cream. Okay, so that's the can of the evaporated milk gone in. Just give it a bit of a swirl around, let it all mix in with the water. And to that, I'm then going to add some Amino Blend 365. Again, this is a really lovely, creamy smelling liquid full of natural attractors that really does complement the Live System very well. So I'll give that a good shake up first. Now to this, I'm going to add about 1/4 of a bottle of the Amino Blend. So you can see there, I've probably actually added about 1/5 of a bottle of liquid, so not much at all, but it is enough to give the bait a significant amount of attraction. Again, give it a nice mix up together. The final addition to this little mix is the Carp Freaks Liquid Booster. I'm going to be using the Carp Freaks pop-ups over the top of the Live System, but by adding it to this mix, it just means that the Live System will have similar food signals and attractors to the hook baits that I'm presenting over the top. So we don't need a lot at all, it's literally just a dash. As you can see there, I didn't add very much at all, it was literally just a dash, but that is enough to really increase the attraction of the boilies. Now this isn't something that I do in the summer months as much, because in the warmer conditions, the milk can turn very, very quickly and the whole mix can go off. In the winter months, in the colder temperatures, this can last for several days. But if you want to reuse any bait you have left over at the end of your session, you can just drain off the liquid, put it into empty plastic bottles and put it in the freezer, or just bag up your bait and just refreeze the whole lot. It's absolutely fine to refreeze and reuse. That way you're not wasting any of this bait. Now, although there is an initial outlay with this of buying the liquid additives to make this mix, you are using smaller quantities of bait. So it will last a lot longer and actually save you money in the long run. Although we've talked about location on your venue, we haven't really talked about the venue choice itself. Now, at this time of year, I'll be honest, I do tend to stay away from the larger, lower stocked water. Given everything that I've said about the fish can become very tightly shoaled and hard to find, fishing a large, low stock water, I just don't think's the one at this time of year. Instead, I'll prefer to fish smaller venues with a good stock of fish. But at the end of the day, it does depend on what you want from your fishing. Perhaps you just want to catch one fish all winter and it be a big target fish or something, then by all means concentrate on those bigger waters, but they can be absolute headbangers. But if you want to get bites and constant regular action, then I would definitely be turning to the smaller venues. Obviously on the smaller venues, you're never going to be far away from the fish, but that doesn't mean to say location isn't important. You still need to get your location absolutely spot on, because it could be that 95% of the stock are in a 5% area of the lake. So by concentrating on smaller waters or on waters that you are familiar with, you already have an advantage going into what is the hardest time of the year. One other thing I would say is don't be despondent. Winter fishing can be a bit of a battle of the minds, and I know a lot of people that may go out for just a few sessions, have blanks and just sort of hang up the rods until the spring. Sometimes I think you have to be realistic about your chances and not be despondent if no fish are forthcoming. For example, I've come here today on my lake that I know very, very well indeed. When we got here, it was half frozen. And even though I know the water very, very well, it was never going to be easy. It was never going to be easy at all. I mean, I've got a garden pond which has got koi carp in it, and you can see the fish swimming around. You can put food in there, and there's days when they just will not eat. These are fish that haven't even been fished for, never seen a hook. They're tame fish, but if they don't want to eat, they don't want to eat, and there's nothing you can do about it. And sometimes you have to just bear that in mind and not go away at the end of the session after a blank thinking, that's it, I'm going to give up till spring. Keep going, because the rewards at this time of year can be absolutely amazing. And for me, catching a fish in the winter is just so much more rewarding than catching one in the summer. Competition time, and as you may have seen on this session, I've been using the Black Label QR stage stands with the QR bank sticks and buzz bars, and you can win this rod support setup by answering this really simple question. What were the 3 liquid additives that I used to pimp up my live system boilies? Let me know your answer in the comments section below. Don't forget to also like this video and also subscribe to the Fox YouTube channel, and we will pick a winner from all the correct answers in the comments section below. So get liking, get subscribing, get commenting, and good luck. Well, I've got about an hour of this session remaining, so I'm going to hang on right to the end, try and put a fish on the bank. But that is the end of this video. Hopefully I've given you some food for thought, as well as a few tips and tricks that will help you put a few more fish on the bank this winter. Don't forget to let me know what the 3 liquids that I used to pimp up my live system boilies. Put your comment below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Fox YouTube channel. But until next time guys, make sure you all stay safe, stay carpy, and I'll catch you next time.